Joining me now from Alexandria, Virginia, president of the Market Institute, Charlie Sauer. Charlie, do you think that Facebook is dominated by conservatives and the conservative voice only?
No, I don't. But I think that what Facebook is dominated by are people talking about politics. And I think that where we actually run into a problem with social media and politics is that the algorithms are designed to kind of put you together with the people you believe in. So there is an echo chamber, but the echo chamber is on both sides. So if a bad story's shared on the right, it echoes around the right. And if a bad story is shared on the left, it echoes around the left. So I do think that there's echo chambers on both sides. But look, we have about 50% of the US is liberal and about 50% is Republican. And so if Facebook wants to make money, their goal is to be as down the middle as possible. And I think that as an economist, as a libertarian, as somebody who identifies on the right, I think that that should be our assumption for all business owners.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I never hear liberals say they're being censored on Twitter or on Facebook unless they say something really terrible and then they get kicked off. But for the most part, it's usually conservative groups. Some of the Second Amendment groups, they've been banned, and a lot of them had created their business models around Facebook to sell some of their gear. And you've heard some of the stories about the algorithm changes where people from Facebook admitted that there was an issue with the algorithms that happened to target conservatives. So there's been some evidence on that side. That being said, I believe that some people on the left are just up in arms about the fact that conservatives can have a conversation on Facebook still. They don't want it at all, because if you look at television, media, magazines, movies, there is a liberal slant. And so they want that like last bit of discussion among conservatives to just be totally squelched.
So while we might disagree on the social media side of what's happening in the debate there, where we completely agree is that the liberals have this just distaste for any conversation that they don't agree with. And that isn't American. It's not something that'll move us forward. And for that matter, I don't think it's progressive. I don't think that not listening to ideas lets you move forward. I think that listening to ideas, listening to debates, and actually participating in those debates in a respectful manner is what allows the country to move forward. And where we're at right now as a country is the right is willing to have that debate. But even at that, because we've been split, the debates have become more divisive and scarier to get in the middle between. But the left just won't allow these conversations to happen. And so I can't agree with you more on that aspect. I think that this is something the left needs to look inside themselves and actually start learning how to debate. And I think they could get more people to their side if they allowed that to happen.
Yeah, it's really incredible how much they despise the idea of free speech, unless, of course, it's their ideas. And as a former independent, and I actually even worked on a couple Democratic campaigns when I was a lot younger, I just couldn't imagine, many years ago where people just didn't want to have a conversation or at least listen to ideas. And that's where we're at right now. And when they don't like your ideas, they call you a racist, they call you a white supremacist, when it's actually really not the case. And that's a really easy way to shut down a conversation.
Look, I've had a lot of disagreements with President Trump, and I have written about those disagreements, and there's pushback on those disagreements. But the names that people call me, I don't get the names and the death threats that I got when I spoke out against President Obama on basically the same issues with the same problems. And the names and death threats just come faster and harder from the left. That's just the way it is. And I'm sure that you are, you've been aware of that as well. It's not nice to be on the receiving end of that, but it even becomes more of a charge to get out there and really hold your beliefs and put them out there the further and more that they push back. And so again, I don't think it's doing them any service. In fact, it's doing a disservice to stop the free speech of people and actually the pursuing of ideas.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten my share of death threats. I've been doxxed. I've been called every name in the book. And liberal men really like to criticize my appearance for whatever reason, which is pretty rude. I wanted to get your thoughts on Zuckerberg from the same interview from Axios, saying that he hopes Facebook won't destroy society.
One of my friends is a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. It could be considered one of the founders of the internet. And he actually has the same fear. And I think it's one of these things that when you see how this tool that you've built can be used and the power behind it and what that does to people, I think that it can become scary to some. In the end, I think that people will win out. We want services that are good and aren't going to ruin society. And the internet itself has given us access to more information than we've ever had before. Facebook gives us access to our friends and family and other sides of a debate if we want to pursue those that we've never had before. So I think both of these are good, but it is interesting that the creators of these platforms have seen this as a problem in their own psyche, their own belief of where they've gone.
Yeah, these internet sites certainly have their pros and cons, that's for sure. Well, Charlie, we're totally out of time. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.